Love, exciting and new.
Hello, Hannah Waddingham here. Have you seen the fabulous new Sun Princess? World-class entertainment, exceptional dining, and the greatest pizza ever.
It's a love.
Don't miss our Come Aboard sale with up to 40% off and free room upgrades. Visit princess.com or call your travel advisor to book. Princess Cruises. Terms and restrictions apply. Offer ends 2/28/25. Ships of Bermudan and British Registry.
This episode is brought to you by Intuit TurboTax. Didn't file with TurboTax last year? That's in the past. Now, Taxes is getting the TurboTax app and filing your own taxes for free if you didn't file with them last year. File by February 18th. All tax forms, all 100% free. Now, this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. New filers and filers who didn't use TurboTax last year only must start and file your own taxes in-app by February 18th. Excludes TurboTax Live. Full terms at TurboTax.com.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the Vehicle Owner's Manual for important feature limitations and information.
When the NFL was created, George Halas's Chicago Bears rocketed pro football into the nation's spotlight.
The Bears, the world champions.
Give me 18 inches of daylight. That's all I need.
Nicknamed the Monsters of the Midway,
I like that top body. The refrigerator.
the Bears transformed the National Football League.
The Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams.
All right, boys, you know what time it is. It's victory. What we've been waiting for. Hey, we talk about legendary teams. Listen to me. Listen to this right here. We talk about the Patriots, bro. We talk about the Legion of Boom. We talk about the 85 Bears. They're going to talk about the 24 preseason Bears for the rest of our lives. You feel me? Come on.
Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Pointless Exercise podcast. It's time for episode 4 of Hard Knocks. This is our recap with actor comedian Mike Pusteri and the man of many podcasts, Mike Prasnowski. So I asked myself the question last night about 45 minutes into this one. How many weeks of entertaining content can you get out of the Bears? Apparently it's 3. Well, I rewatched it to take notes, and it was not as there was more good stuff in it than I thought.
There's some good stuff.
Yeah.
I imagine some of the stuff away from football was maybe stuff that was filmed earlier in training camp that they're maybe splicing in now.
Well, like just all of a sudden, Adrian Colbert is there. Who I honestly forgot was on the team until he made that play against the Chiefs.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. But the whole Ian Wheeler storyline was a great storyline.
Yep.
I mean, it had a sad short-term ending, but maybe it can still possibly have a happy long-term ending too. So,
yeah, I thought that was good. I know Praz was emotionally wrecked earlier in the week when Austin Reed was waived, but he was waived with the intent of getting him back on the practice squad, and that did happen.
And he's there,
very much so.
And they can protect him on the practice squad, so they can make him one of the guys who can't be poached.
Yes,
we'll enjoy the very enthusiastic Reed family at games.
Yes, sure.
I wonder if he's on the practice squad and he's like the emergency quarterback, do they like put them in an isolation booth, and they only if he gets in, then they let him watch the game. Otherwise, he has to. You're the emergency fans. We only use you if your son plays.
The emergency.
Maybe they make him pay for the tickets, maybe. But then if he gets in,
of course,
then they get a then
there we go.
George and cash. No large bills. Cash only. But anyway, so the episode starts with 10 days to final cuts, and Ian Cunningham and Ryan Poles in one of these completely non-staged scenes that we love.
We've seen a lot of those.
Where Ian Cunningham is counting how many guys they're going to keep at each position. And he said, I wrote these down, so we know how many. 5 running backs. I believe they kept 6. I guess it depends how you count Velus. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler
Velus
alert.
made the team.
Right.
3 quarterbacks, which they only kept 2.
They kept 2, yep.
He said 5 tackles.
Yep.
3 tight ends, which I think they kept 3.
They kept 3.
6 wide receivers. That's include. They did keep 6, including Velus. They had him listed as a receiver, not a running back. 6 defensive ends, 3 defensive tackles, 5 linebackers, 4 safeties, 4 outside cornerbacks, and 4 nickelbacks, and then the 3 specialists. Although they only had to keep 2 because they don't have a long snapper. They signed some guy who played at Notre Dame and somewhere else.
They pulled Patrick Manley out of retirement.
Yeah. I'm hoping that this started in mid-sentence for Ian, because otherwise, his initial plan, the Bears were not keeping centers or guards. We're just going to go all tackles. It's going to be great. And we're only keeping 5. So if anybody gets hurt, tough shit.
I mean, it was interesting because the final numbers were somewhat different. And, this is pretty close to the end of the cuts.
Yeah. So maybe just trying to throw the Hard Knocks guys off in case any of them are spies for other teams.
Exactly.
In case any of them thought they were getting their hands on an Austin Reed. That was...
Now, my Google alert for Brett Rippon hasn't gone off yet, so I don't know if he's signed with anybody. He's also a guy who they will, if he clears waivers and doesn't find a team he wants to play for, they will bring him back as well.
Yeah, he had a great season.
So then we get to see the room after the Bengals game, and all the coaches are there, and we hear them going through the grades. This is classic Hard Knocks stuff. They've been doing this since day one. Kerry Joseph, the quarterback coach. We didn't hear the grade for Caleb, but he said he did a good job extending plays. And then Chris Beatty, who's the wide receiver coach, was very positive about Rome, where he said he did some really good things. He's getting better every day, crisper in his routes. The sky is the limit for him, but he goes, he was very disappointed and is losing track of where he was in the end zone. And then Poles, because he listened to this podcast last week, said, did you notice anything about the field? And Beatty's like, how slick the grass was?
How slick it was, yeah.
Which Flus is like, hey, fuck you, this is my Bermuda grass. And he's like, no, the paint. And that was what I thought that immediately when it happened in the game. I thought it was weird. They were doing Fox 32 was doing the overheads of the field. And it's like, it looks like shit. It looks like a high school field. They didn't bother to paint it. Well, the reason they did is they tore the grass all up. Apparently, the Park District guy's like, I'm not wasting all that paint for one game.
Yeah, that was about right.
So they didn't paint between the out of bounds line. And then I think it's like, you have to leave like 4 yards. It's either 3 or 4 yards. And then you draw another line.
Yeah, so it is
to keep people off the field. And I think Poles and I think the same thing. I think Rome, as he was finding an open spot, looked back, saw the line behind him, thought, I'm in great shape.
Right.
Catches the ball, looks down, both of his feet are out of bounds. Because he looked at the wrong line.
In front of him.
And then the wide receiver coach accusing him of having no awareness.
Yeah.
Come on.
Because at the end of the day, he had no awareness of where he was. And then all the coaches laughed.
Yeah. I'm sure Rome's excited about that.
Kerry Joseph gave Travis Bagent A+.
He was great.
Yep. And then I think it's Liev Schreiber is the one who told us that for the battle for the third quarterback between Rippon and Reed, Rippon had the edge. Maybe he did, maybe didn't. We don't know. He doesn't have a job right now.
No,
right. Austin does. So ha. Yeah, and then Reed has mastered the mic drop, but still needs to master quarterback. And he didn't play at all in the Bengals game, which was by design because they gave him the entire second half of the Chiefs game.
Right.
But it would be funny if they didn't tell him he wasn't going to play. He's just like over there, like with his helmet on for the entire fourth quarter. Now, do I go now? No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then they use that to transition to, what Liev says, you can't make the team if you can't make it onto the field. I think I just said that. But then they transitioned that to Velus needing a good week to make the team, which I don't think was ever true. I think Velus.
No, and it certainly wasn't true after what happened to Wheeler, but yeah.
Yeah, and when he didn't play, I think when he didn't play in the very first preseason game, they sat him out with all the starters. I think that was, and then how fair would it have been to Velus to been like, okay, by the way, we're gonna right now we're gonna teach you how to play running back, and you're either gonna make the team or not, depending on how you figure it out in the next 3 weeks. Like what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that gave him that gave them another opportunity to talk about Ian Wheeler, because in their mind he's competing with Velus for the last job. I think Wheeler was competing for a practice squad spot, I think, all along.
Yeah, I'd say he probably had an outside chance of making the roster, but certainly they were high on him. They're going to keep him.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right. I think the only chance he maybe really had was like, with all the frustration we've had with Velus Jones over the last few years, like if he hadn't really come out and proven himself this preseason, then it would have been a better chance for Ian Wheeler.
Yeah. But that would have depended on how much they really think Velus is a running back, or they want to be able to run some plays where they line him up as a running back, because then Velus getting cut would have kept another wide receiver on the team. I think not running.
Yeah.
So they were talking about, they're still in the meeting room, and Chad Morton was talking about how he's excited for Ian Wheeler because it's a lot of talent. And then Poles says, and it was not answered, we only hear the question, if you had to keep 3, which 3 would that be? And we don't even know if he was really saying that about running backs.
We have no idea.
We don't know.
Could have been talking about tight end.
Yeah. But if it's running backs, we know the 3. It was DeAndre Swift, Herbie the Love Bug, and Roshan Johnson.
Yeah.
Although Courtney Cronin tried to trade Herbie the entire training camp. It's like, pretty sure you're going to need him. I wouldn't be trading the guy who led the league in yards per carry 2 years ago. I'd probably hang on to him.
Right.
Then we can see the running backs doing drills. They're doing the dreaded ladder drill, which isn't, it used to be tires. Then it was a ladder. And then many years ago, it just became this thing you throw down on the ground that has little squares in it that you have to get your feet in.
They're just playing hopscotch out there.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And running back coach Chad Morton and assistant running back coach Jennifer King are just making Howard run the ladder drill over and over again and yelling at him for not getting all of his cleats in it, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Wheeler says that basically says Morton's a pain in the ass and that King is the good cop.
Yeah, the
good
cop.
Good cop.
Yep.
And Morton says to Wheeler, he's got 4.3 speed, and I'm going to get that out of him. That's what he says about Ian Wheeler.
Yeah.
And then a controversial highlight, at least amongst the nitwits who cover the Bears. They showed during practice, Wheeler goes through the line, and Gervon Dexter hits it, knocks him on his ass, and it starts a fight.
Right. Yep.
Which was apparently the only fight the Bears had in the entire training camp. And I guess it was pretty big. And the writers were very disappointed that they didn't show more of the fight.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't see that.
Coaches let it go, I think, because it was the only one. So they're kind of like, let's see what happens. And they were shoving and swinging.
Wish we could have
Montez
seen
took his helmet off for some reason. It's never a good idea.
I never understand why they would never take off your helmet.
No.
It's not a good idea.
Exactly. Wish we could have seen the scene of Eberflus sending them all back to conditioning, like he said that he would do in the joint practice against the Bengals.
Right.
Yeah. Apparently that warning did not stick for that.
No.
And then, but it was funny. I liked what King said to him. because he got knocked on his ass. And it started the fight because they really weren't supposed to be hitting. And she goes, I told you in this league playing high would be a self-correcting problem.
That was great. Self-correcting.
Yep.
You had to take it either one way or the other.
Right. Because you're not going to want to do that again.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then they showed, and who knows how much longer after that was, they showed him going through the line, and he laid the wood on poor little Greg Stroman Jr., who was just coming over to like tap him down, and Wheeler sent him flying. So that was
I love the quote from Chad Morton in that same scene too, saying like, when they hit you, it's going to look like a yard sale. He was staying as tall as he was.
Yeah.
We got our obligatory Flus and Caleb chat, and this one was the Flus showing him. Apparently, you know, every team has the officials come around and they talk about points of emphasis, and this is the dumbest point of emphasis, even for the NFL
of all time.
That they're going to make if the quarterback does anything to simulate a play when you're just clocking the ball, they're going to call intentional ground. So you literally have to like just take the snap and then like two-handed throw the ball straight down.
Yeah, like a 4-year-old would. Or
what are the problems? This is to alleviate the fake spike.
Yeah, I know.
That happens like once every 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid.
And which is kind of fun if it actually works.
I don't know if you guys remember this because it thankfully didn't happen when he was a Bear. But you know, Steve Walsh, like one of the legitimately like smartest quarterbacks in NFL history, I think it was when he was with the Saints. He needed to clock the ball. He took the snap, turned his back to the line of scrimmage, and clocked it. And it was a backward pass. It was a fumble, and the other team recovered the ball.
Oh shit! Wow.
Like he was just like trying to get out of everybody's way, but he was facing the wrong way, and he threw it behind. He threw it backwards, and it's a fumble. That's not a spike.
I think that scenario did come to fruition one time for the Bears, like not really recent memory anymore, but didn't like Caleb Haney during that stretch when Jay was out in 2011? I think in the game against the Raiders, like they were on the last drive, and he was trying to stop the clock. And he took like a second too long to spike it, and they got called for intentional grounding there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who was the guy? I can't even think of him. We all thought the Bears were going to draft him last year. The big defensive tackle from Georgia who went to the Eagles.
Yeah, right.
He tried to intercept one. Do you remember that?
Carter.
He dove under the center with his arms out and tried to intercept the spike. They made that illegal too. Yeah. Like, just don't. They're just trying to stop the clock. You don't need to take out 3 offensive linemen in a futile attempt to intercept a pass and thing thrown straight down 89 miles an hour.
Right.
So then, whatever the front office guy was who was explaining the rule to Caleb, they showed this happened to the Vikings this preseason, and the quarterback just did like what we're used to as a spike.
Yeah, it didn't strike you as like that was out of the ordinary. It was like,
he took a big step back and they called it. It's just, I don't know why. You know, it's going to screw the Bears somehow.
Oh, for sure.
That's going to happen because the Packers are going to do it and not get called for it.
That would be the way it would screw the Bears. Yeah,
exactly.
We're like, that's supposed to be.
or the Packers will find some weird loophole within the rule to exploit.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first, like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
So then we got a lot of Austin Reed in this one, and we needed him because we needed the entertainment.
We did.
Yes.
He and Brett Rippon were on the sidelines, and Austin dubbed them the best clappers in the league. Bro. He says bro.
Bro.
He says bro more than Matt Eberflus says right.
Hey.
Every post-game talk to the team, Eberflus says right after everything. So I told you guys we came out here, played hard, right? And pressure the quarterback, right? Well, we don't know. We never do that. And then they Reed, Bagent, and Rippon practiced had to practice a celebration. And apparently, were they doing? Like soft toss baseball? Is that what they're doing? Because
that's what they're doing.
One of them just throws the
Or
ball,
softball,
lobs it up. Another one hits it, and the other guy, his job is to have like the binoculars to try to follow how far the ball is.
So that confused me because you would associate that more with like a golf thing, I thought, than a. But it was clearly a baseball.
Well, I'm sure Cole Kmet is upset that they're honing in. He's the one who gets to do the baseball.
He's the one that always does the home run celebration when he scores.
Yeah. He won't be
what happens when Austin Reed throws a touchdown pass to Cole Kmet? Now, which celebration do they do? The team will be torn apart.
Be a big fight. Torn asunder in the locker room.
It's just brother against brother. It's going to be terrible.
Bro against
I did like their description of themselves, though. I said, we're the three guys at the end of a Division I basketball team bench. Three walk-ons
that was funny.
At the end of the bench.
Yeah.
And then they had a little outing.
I thought that was really well done.
They went to the
Ferris Bueller guy.
Went to the Sears Tower. It's not the Willis Tower. I don't care how much. I don't care how much money Bruce Willis paid for the tower.
was that Bruce Willis who bought that?
I think so.
Okay.
Early part of his dementia, he was throwing money around and he bought a building.
Right.
And Mama named it the Sears Tower. I'm gonna call it the Sears Tower.
Mama named it Sears Tower. I'm gonna call it Sears Tower.
And they got to go up. I don't know what floor it is.
Yeah, it's not the
104th, something like that.
Third, I think it is. I've only ever been up there
There's a few
one
floors.
time.
You're not on the top floor. You're a few down.
Right.
Maybe for the structural integrity of the building, they didn't want to poke holes at the top. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I have not been there since they added the sky deck.
I have not either.
And I'm kind of with Brett Rippon. I don't know that.
Right.
I would tell him on the way up. I'd be like, of course, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stand out there. I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, I'm more like Austin Reed. I'd be like, I'm not getting on there. I'd be like holding on to the side, like putting one foot on there. Like,
well, Rippon,
okay, this is enough.
Austin at least tried. You didn't see Rippon.
Well, he did because he heard it click. Now that would have freaked
that's
me out
right.
too.
He stepped and he's like,
it's clicking.
That would freak you out.
That would be. I'd be like, how can it be clicking?
When we went to the Grand Canyon, we wanted to do the thing where they have it now. They have like this glass. No, it's not glass. Not glass. I don't think so. You walk out over the canyon, so you can look down over so you go out over the canyon and you look down. But that's we were coming from Phoenix, and that's on the Vegas side.
Gotcha.
So I'd have to go to Vegas to do that. Okay. I remember when we were there though. My wife was just like, she'd just like walk out to the edge, turn around. She's talking to people. Her foot is like, she's got toes over the thing.
My God, yeah.
Back heel right over it, yeah.
I'm just like, I am not renting a donkey to go retrieve your corpse. So if you fall down, you're going to be, I'm going to let the earth return you to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Reed said, I don't want to feel the thrill of the ledge, bro. But he kind of did. He tiptoed out there at least.
Yeah, he got out there.
And it was whoever got the shot. I'm sure it's a drone shot. It was a great shot of them from the outside standing on the thing, and then it just panned very slowly until you couldn't see them. It was a long way. You could see them for a long time until all of a sudden it was just too dark. You couldn't see them. That was
they had to stand there for a while. They're like, you guys suck it up and stand there.
Yeah. They're like, first you talked us into doing this, and now we've got to,
now we got to stand here.
We got to film a 45-minute scene standing on this
drone to get by.
All for an NFL film sweatshirt or something that they get.
I'll say this as someone who was doing a lot of business around downtown Chicago last week. Got a feeling that scene was not filmed last week with what was going on there.
I think during the convention with every street blocked and
right.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe some of those streets were blocked off for the Hard Knocks crew to get this shot of the three backup Bear quarterbacks.
Could have been. There you go. Yep. Like, hey, we're blocking off streets anyway. Let's just block up this one.
That's probably why James Taylor got bumped from the whatever night of the convention he was supposed to perform.
Yeah.
It ran long because one of the speakers was stuck waiting for Tyson Bagent to pose for his sky deck.
Exactly.
Then we got the Adrian Colbert package. Adrian, a defensive back who's trying to make his 10th team in 8 seasons, although he didn't play it all last year.
Mm-hmm.
And we see him walking around the field barefoot.
Yeah.
Grounding.
Pohl says they go way back. Probably played together, Boston College. I don't know how old Adrian is. Said he's always somebody I'm rooting for. And he tells the story about racing on his bike when he was 9 years old, and his friend stopped at the stop sign, and he didn't, and he got hit.
Right.
Got hit by a lady who was. I like it was like, well, she was rushing to work. It's like, yeah, you were running a stop sign.
Yeah, right.
Let's not. We can't pin it on the lady, for you just admitted you didn't stop at the stop sign. You are on a bike. You have to obey traffic signals.
Yeah.
And poor little 9-year-old Adrian got hit, and I couldn't follow the whole. Was he in a coma for a week, and then they had to airlift him to Dallas, and then 2 more weeks, or there was just lots of comas and weeks, and almost lost his legs, and
Texas, and
broke a vertebrae, I believe. Yeah,
I was thinking they're going to be out, but the lady who hit me and I now we're like really close or something like that.
Was Virginia McCaskey.
It's Virginia McCaskey.
It's now Jennifer King.
That man was.
That's right. She's now my coach.
It's now Jennifer King.
Or she's not coach on my team.
Right.
But that went on for quite a while. It was a fine story, and you could actually see some of the scars still on like his arm.
Yeah,
you could see it.
Yeah.
Well,
oh my God, must have been horrible.
Yeah.
Not to jump ahead to what we normally do at the end of the show, but that was by far the most alarming thing in the episode for me. Was that like he's telling the story, and there's this entire like little video of him riding his bike through like Lake Forest without a helmet on. You would think after going through that like anytime you get on a bike, you'd be wearing a helmet. But
he broke his legs, not his head.
Still, protect yourself.
Suit of armor.
Yeah, we could have had foreshadowing like we thought we had last week with the Scotty Scheffler reference, and then Tory Taylor driving to the game. We were sure he was going to hit a cop on his way to the game, but that didn't happen. So then they show practice, and Rome is digging through a bag, and he goes, "We got orange slices." He's like, "What is this, soccer practice?"
Yeah.
So then he and rookie wide receiver
John Jackson,
former USC teammate of Caleb Williams, who was also gone.
He didn't make the break.
I don't think so.
No.
Colin Johnson's on it though.
Yeah. So
Hall of Fame game MVP. There we go.
Yeah. Who hasn't? Has he played since? I don't think he's played since.
I haven't seen him since. No.
Hey, if I were him, I wouldn't. I'd be like,
he got hurt.
Yeah, right. I'm still hurt, coach.
Yeah. Oh, hey,
my arm.
Broken.
I don't think I'll be ready till week 1.
Yeah.
But the veterans sent Rome and John to get snacks. And Rome was very impressed that the grocery store was open 24 hours, which then immediately piqued my interest as to what it was. And they were at Woodman's.
Yep. Got a location right by me. Love Woodman's.
It's a much fancier. It's Woodman's. It's a warehouse thing, but we don't. And the one in Rockford, which has been there a long time, is probably why we don't have the fancy red wall that they have on that one. That looks like an upscale Woodman's. If they're
to be honest, I've never been to a Woodman. I've never heard of Woodman's.
They're mostly out in the suburban areas. Like the one they went to, I think, is in Buffalo Grove. There's one by me in Bloomingdale. They're not really in the city, but if you go to the outskirts, you'll find them.
So they are employee owned. Phil Woodman does. Phil and somebody else do their commercials, and they do a lot of screaming.
We've had one in Rockford for radio broadcasts. Yeah. Exactly.
We've had one in Rockford for 20 years, but even as a little kid, there was one in Beloit. It's a Wisconsin. It started in Wisconsin.
Oh, it's a Wisconsin thing. Okay.
Yeah, I was saying earlier today, they were between Tim Walls talking about buying your downspouts at Menards and singing the Menards jingle, and Rome buying snacks at Woodman's. This has been a big couple of days for Midwestern warehouse stores. It is a good place to get candy. They have a shitload. It's a huge grocery store. No frills. Most famously, and there's always somebody who doesn't know this. You cannot use, for the longest time, you couldn't use a credit card at all at Woodman's.
Right.
Okay. Debit or there's right. That's the downside. You go get in a line. There's a good chance there's some 80-year-old woman who's going to be writing a check for her groceries.
Oh, brutal.
But now you can use Discover Card.
I was going to say, is that the only one they take? That's like the next step in that evolution.
That's because Discover charges them the least of any of the credit card companies. Right. So you can use a Discover Card.
They'll take Visa and MasterCard, but not Amex. Never Amex.
Woodman's also has pretty cheap gas. It's usually right in the Costco range, and you don't need a membership, but same thing applies.
Okay.
Right.
Debit. You got to use a debit card. And most of their gas stations don't have any. There's no humans anymore. If you don't have your debit card, you're SOL. You can't get your gas at Woodman's.
In the case of the one by me in Bloomingdale, it's actually like right around the corner from a Costco too, and they always try to like match it to whatever the Costco price is.
The Costco here doesn't show the gas price in the store anymore. That was always the thing. There was always this on your way out.
Yeah, right at the front.
There'd be a sign that would show what the gas price was. They don't do that anymore. Maybe they're afraid spies are going to come in from Casey's or some shit and try to undercut them.
Yeah.
But Rome was very excited to find out that you can buy all red. You can buy a bag of all red Starbursts.
Yes, very.
It's been a thing for quite a while, Rome, but that's good. They loaded up on seeds, but he had a very interesting description of Mambas.
Yep.
So it's a rectangular prism.
To which Jonathan Jackson did not know what that was.
I was like, you don't know what a rectangular prism is? Like, no, it's not a thing. I thought the best line Rome had, though, was as they're pushing the cart. It says, they're going to think we're having a 10-year-old's birthday party. No, we're just getting snacks for professional athletes. It wouldn't be a week without Theo Benedet, also on the practice squad.
Yep.
Apparently miraculously recovered from this groin injury.
Yeah.
That was going to end his, like, he was going to be out for like 3 months. And
back and ready to go.
Yeah. But veterans also sent him on a run, and they told him to get, I forget what it was, but also to pick up some dude wipes. And Hard Knocks very artfully zoomed in on what Theo actually bought. He bought a big thing of Clorox wipes. I think what threw Theo off is they said they were compostable. Just because you can put them in a compost thing doesn't mean you should be wiping your ass with them.
Right. Not for the same use as dude wipes.
And Theo's only defense was, he goes, I understood that it wasn't ideal.
Which is a great defense, by the way. That's what I'm going to say next time I'm in any kind of trouble. I understand it wasn't ideal.
It wasn't ideal. But the position coach was like, well, have him do it first.
Yeah.
You go, you try these out. See how it feels. And then we had another week, another rookie song. But this time, the position coaches were helping coach Ian Wheeler before his song.
Yeah. And Chad Morton was coaching him just as hard
as
the song as he does on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Jennifer gave him advice. She said, when you get to a part where you don't know the words, just turn your head and get behind the dreads.
Yeah.
And then she laughs and goes, you just turned me into Joe Jackson.
Exactly.
Which I'm sure, was like, what? Ian Wheeler's like, Joe who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they showed his song, and I thought the best touch was, there was like a gift bag sitting on the floor, and nobody really knew what that was for. And then he had a hype man, whoever it was, right as the music started, pulled it away and revealed the little light with the smoke
machine,
coming out of it.
That was great. And then I think there was I couldn't tell which player it was, but he was wearing like a white hoodie, like kind of made it rain in one of the first few rows there.
They threw it was $1 bills. I paused it to see if it was fake money.
Okay, I was wondering.
And I was like, Ian only got a $7,500 signing bonus. He can't be throwing a lot of money around.
Right.
No, it would be funny if he was the one running around trying to collect it all. I need that back. It was a prop.
Yeah.
And as they kind of like faded away to go to the next scene, you could hear one of the players go, "That was the best one yet."
Yeah.
Then they went out. They were off to Kansas City for their final preseason game, and Adrian Colbert was extolling the virtues of a sound bowl.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, so he had
it was just a contrast. Tyson's day.
Yes, I do think, and I thought the way they did it was actually
making it
pretty
the
good,
yin and the yang,
pretty good.
Right?
Yeah,
yeah. But he said it cleans the energy and the space around you and within you. So I had no idea that Marianne Williamson was the new Bears quality control coach.
Yeah.
So while he's doing that, being very zen and running the thing, it actually does make kind of a pleasant sound.
Oh yeah, it makes a very pleasant sound.
We see Tyson Bagent stand in front of a bar. Now, if you want to know how prestigious it is to be a 28-time world champion arm wrestler, his dad was actually having a tournament in this like neighborhood bar in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Right.
So the night before the game, that's where Tyson was. He was hanging out watching his dad compete. And I like the way he described it to the cameras. He was like, you're going to see my dad yelling a lot and some super normal dudes coming close to hurting their arms.
Yeah,
That's his description.
shit. Yeah.
So then while they're showing Colbert with the cut back and Travis Bagent is just screaming.
Yeah, it's like Hulk Hogan.
And he Travis admonished his son. He said, Tyson, do not come up here no matter what happens.
Yeah.
I'll take care of
brother.
I'll take care of everything. The thing with 2 full weeks now of heavy into Travis Bagent, he is a guy who, if you heard his voice, you would immediately know what he looks like.
Yes.
It does. Yeah, it does kind of.
He literally looks like his voice.
Very much.
Like if you had to picture somebody, even with the wild eyes and the maniacal grin, like you would see that in your head just from his voice. He wins they show the first match and he wins it in about half a second.
Yeah.
And then apparently the guy who was emceeing the thing was also an arm wrestler.
I guess he's the top local arm wrestler there.
And so they show it and he clearly cheats.
Yes, he does. He gets
basically is going before they start.
Yeah, right.
Travis just kind of looks at him like, "Yeah, no, we're going to do that again."
Yeah. I like
so they do it again.
Can I say I like the referee? He's got the ref. He's got the ref.
Oh yeah.
He's taking this very seriously.
Yeah, well, a second, he wraps their hands a second time, and he puts his hands over there, so he won't let them start until his hands go. Because the guy
Ed Hikely over here.
This had quite a bit of production value. So we see the second one, and I think Travis was letting the guy get the early lead.
Right.
Because then Travis just kind of changes his grip and immediately pulls it over, then pauses for a little bit. Yeah. I think to let the Hard Knocks guys start to play in the background, the Sammy Hagar classic, Winner Takes It All, from the over-the-top soundtrack. The greatest and only arm wrestling movie ever made. And then Travis wins.
Yes. As the referee calls it for him.
Yeah. Fact that I know about Winner Takes It All is
I was going to say that's a deep cut right there.
Yeah. That
is that Eddie Van Halen played bass on it.
Oh.
And it was around the same time that Sammy cut his last solo album. He had just joined Van Halen. And so he had one more album that he had to do before he could go into Van Halen before he got kicked out later and then did more solo albums.
Right.
And that was Where Eagles Fly. And Eddie played bass on that entire album.
Yeah.
So I think they recorded this as part of that. But yes. There's your Sammy Hagar update.
There you go. Okay.
Then they go to the game, and Keenan Allen and Chiefs wide receiver Mecole Hardman are giving Caleb shit about something Caleb said the week before on Hard Knocks, which was that he doesn't get nervous.
Yeah.
And they both tell him he will, and he just goes, "Well, I'll let you know." And they're like, "Yeah, you let us know."
Yeah, you do that.
First game, you're going to get nervous. Yeah.
And then we meet, and I have no idea. How do we think you say Ian Wheeler's mom's name? It's spelled Beaura. It's literally Beaura.
I was going to say Bora, but
yeah,
that was my best guess.
So now they're cutting between her and Travis Bagent in the stands. Oh, still screaming. He just did a lot of screaming, but she's very calm and very excited, proud of her son, and he's also proud of his son, screaming at the top of his lungs.
Yeah.
And Tyson is lighting up the Chiefs in his brief appearance against them. And you can hear Travis. They basically let Travis do the play-by-play. Because, Jeff, if you listen to the Joniak, you'd have no idea what's going on. But Travis, you do. He yells play action when it's play action. And he tells him score right before he dives and hits the pylon.
Yeah.
ESPN 1000. Reach out to Travis Bagent.
Yeah. I would rather listen to Travis call the games than Jeff.
Yeah.
Although Tyson did, it's a no-no. Diving for the end zone and trying to hit the pylon with the ball. I mean, you just ask Benny Cunningham and John Fox. They can tell you that you probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But it's preseason. What the hell? You might as well give a shit. And he did fumble it, but he had just crossed the line and he lost it out of bounds.
Right.
And a nice little moment where Tyson went over to thank Caleb for everything he's learned from him, and Caleb thanked him for everything he's learned from the second-year quarterback and the rookie quarterback.
Yeah, learning
all the wisdom they've imparted on each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that to Caleb, or am I confusing that with something else? Because wasn't there one with Shane?
Oh no,
Austin's
Austin's gonna have his moment.
Austin,
here in a little bit.
Austin has
right.
a nice little moment as well. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Then they have an Adrian Colbert highlight package, which doesn't have any highlights in it. He's getting blocked. He misses a tackle, and Tom Thayer calls him out for it on the broadcast. And then he makes up for it with he made an incredible play in that game against the Chiefs. He literally ran with the ball in the air 30 yards, and we learned from Flus last week. You can make up a third of the distance between you and the defender while the ball's in the air. So I don't think that was 90 yards. I think Adrian defied Flus's physics.
Yeah, he made
a great play.
Yeah,
knocked that away. He came, if the field's 52 yards wide, he had to cover 30 yards to get to.
Oh yeah, I mean it was an unbelievable play.
And then they blitzed him, and he set up Reddy Stewart's second pick, the pick 6.
Yeah. Right.
And then Flus still asked Reddy, how'd you get your nickname?
How'd you get your nickname, Reddy?
Redrick? Why do they call you Reddy?
Right.
Oh, wait, never mind.
Both
That's right. He'll ask you guys, how you got your nicknames, Mike. Guys have Mike. How'd you real name's Michael? How'd you get the nickname?
Yeah.
How'd you get the nickname Praz? I don't see that anywhere in your name.
Yeah, Praz. Is that German for something? Polish? It's Polish.
Praz.
And then after he broke up the pass, you could hear him yell, "That's what I do." Adrian yelled that. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And we hear Jeff Joniak. We're getting ready for the Austin Reed. Oh, we're getting ready for the Ian
Wheeler package.
Wheeler.
Ian Wheeler. Yeah.
But we hear Joniak say, "This is a fun game. It's 20-7 Bears," which I assume is the first time in the entire night he had said the score. So people at home were like, "Write that down. It's 20-7
It's
Bears."
now.
Oh, now they're winning. Been listening for 2.5 hours. I didn't even know they were ahead. So we see him. He does have some highlights and some other plays mixed in, but Morton can't help himself. He's like, "What were you, 4-3? 4-4? Or 4-4 and the clocks were turned off?"
Yeah.
He tells him to go get his Adrian Peterson on. And then the unfortunate thing happens, right?
So sad.
He catches a touchdown pass from Brett Rippon.
Oh, that. Yeah.
But Rippon is across the line of scrimmage. So it's called back, so they keep going. And on the same series, he gets hit on the knee. Now, he should have been sitting on the bench enjoying
celebrating his touchdown.
Playing with his ball.
Yeah.
And enjoying it. But instead, he's still in the game. And he gets hit on the knee. And
come on, ref, save the guy's ACL. Let it go.
And it didn't look, and it did the hit. It didn't look like any kind of violent hit or anything. It just looked like a normal play.
So you see him limp off, and you hear his mom go, "Why are you limping? Oh no, why are you limping?"
Yeah.
And then Jennifer King comes over and she's like, "Are you good? You're good?" And he's like, "No."
You're not good?
And the way he said it, she immediately was like, "Oh shit!" Like
that was a poignant moment because she's got the thumbs up, like, "You good? You good?" And then he's like, "No," and she's like, "You're not good."
Yeah.
If you hear a clear no from a professional athlete, any level,
well, especially one who's trying to make the team, and you knew we'd have to tear him off the field,
right?
And if you remember earlier in the show, that Jennifer was saying to him, "Just don't get hurt. We can't help the club from the tub. Don't get hurt." So that was some foreshadowing there.
Yeah, and she was talking about that, about just the way he in practice. Don't be reckless in practice; you get hurt. Yeah. But that was good. It was good. That's what Hard Knocks does. They knew they found that audio and they're like, "Oh, this is perfect." So
right. Well, which is why, as an aside, I kind of thought the whole thing with the teaching the spike the ball thing was like setting something up later.
Oh,
because that's the type of thing when they feature something like that, you're like, "Is this going to come up somehow?" But it never did. It kind of made that positive.
Yeah. So King asks if he's good. He says no, and they don't even take him to the blue tent. They take him straight to the locker room.
Right to the locker room.
Yeah.
And you see his mom is so heartbroken.
Right.
Because Twitter football injury expert Dr. David Chow, the disgraced former team doctor of the Chargers, is actually really good. Like he'll watch like just a TV copy of a play, and he will tweet what he thinks the injury is, and he's almost always exactly right. He has said that ACLs are super easy to diagnose with the exam on the field. Like they know 99% of the time if they tell you tore your ACL, when you get your MRI, all it's going to do is confirm or show you how badly you tore it. Because they can feel if it's loose, they know.
Yeah.
So when I assume he sent her mom the text.
He's sitting
in the locker room, but I guess it could be, one of the trainers might have said, there's somebody we should tell. She gets a text, and
it could be that.
She knows he's torn his ACL, and so she's crying in the stands, which is awful.
That was awful.
And then they show the coaches on the sidelines, and King is like, "Wow, it's crazy," and Morton just goes, "I'm in a terrible mood right now. I
thought that was really great because up until then, you just see Chad Morton just busting his balls, and you're like, does he really like this kid, or he's just an asshole? And then you see, oh no, he's really rooting for this kid.
We kind of talked about last week. I felt like he was, he's so hard on him, but then they're showing him in practice, and he's busting off runs, and Morton is like running down the sidelines with him, and it was the whole. Yeah. It was the whole, you can't do that to our pledges, only we can do that to our pledges. His job is to be hard on him, and then nobody else can be hard on him because that's my job. You show him nothing but support.
Yeah. You could tell, Morton wanted to, he wanted him to make the team. He wanted to, test him as much as he could on that, as you just said.
Well, and I think they thought if they put him on the practice squad, if somebody gets hurt, that's a guy you can actually activate and play. He was probably going to play.
Someone's going to get hurt. I mean,
especially running back.
Well, I remember Dante Foreman made the team last year and was inactive for a month, and then all of a sudden he was the only running back left, and he's gaining 150 yards in a game. Yeah, that was when they had that the Amazon game against the Panthers, and somebody, I don't think it was Herb Street, but maybe it was on the post game, said that he goes, the Bears' two best players in this game were guys the Panthers just, let go.
Yeah.
Because it was Dante Foreman had a huge game and DJ Moore.
Yeah.
So you want to know why the Panthers are bad? Well, take a look. The two best players in the other team are guys they decided they didn't need. And you hear a Chiefs fan tell Biora that she'll say some prayers tonight, which was nice. But then to lighten the mood, as we go from that, then it's Austin Reed time.
Yeah.
And he's talking to himself. He did this. We saw it a couple weeks ago too. He's talking to himself because he's mic'd up. We can just listen to him. He's basically telling himself not to be nervous because the Lord already has a plan. There's no reason to stress out. And I'm like, well, if that's true, so that God hates the Bears. That's why they always lose. It's his plan.
Well,
screw the Bears.
God also didn't, evidently didn't tell him it was okay to go out on that Sears Tower ledge either.
Exactly, right. And, the team they're playing against, the Chiefs, God has shown some pretty good favor to them as of late. So, who really knows if he's on his side?
Also noticed that Austin Reed's dad finally has a new Bears shirt. He has an orange one.
Yep.
The gray one that we've seen in every other episode. It was he apparently felt confident enough. I
put down some money.
I can get a second. He's got a decent chance. Might as well, I'll get a second Bears shirt.
Right. You know that the team is not buying merch for the family, as evidenced by Simone Biles last week.
Yeah, we knew. Yeah. No,
yeah, right.
Although, George confiscated her Packer jacket. We noticed that it was missing at the end of last week. There was no more Jonathan Owens Packer jacket. It was gone.
Right.
But Austin's running around and he's making plays, and Flus says to Caleb, he's dropping back like Peyton Manning, and Caleb goes, with those big arm sleeves, he looks like him. He's got the full sleeve.
Yeah.
And he goes, operating at a high level. Some might say the highest level they've ever seen. And Rippon tells him it's his legacy game. So they're clearly enjoying themselves around the sidelines. And then we get to see Velus. This was happening while Praz and I were recording the podcast last week. Every time we looked up, Velus was running free down the field.
Yeah.
Velus was having his way out there.
So he's playing running back in the second half, and Morton reminds him, protect the ball. You're a little loose with the ball. Yes, we've noticed over the last couple of years. We have noticed that.
Right. Imagine him saying that to Ian Wheeler. It wouldn't be as gentle as you're a little loose with the ball.
So Velus rips off one big run, and then on his second one, which is really a nice run, and he's basically in punt returner mode. He sees the cutback, and he runs all the way across the field. as Liev Shriver says, it's time to channel the inner ferret. Run like hell and don't
Run
get
like
caught.
hell. Don't get caught.
And what I noticed that I really appreciated was as Velus crossed the hash mark on the far side of the field, he switched the ball to his right arm because you're always supposed to run with the ball in your outside arm because that way if you fumble, and Velus has done that a few times, you have a better chance of it going out of bounds if it's in your outside arm as in your inside arm. So he scores, and Flus goes over to congratulate him, and we've heard Velus's nickname before, but it's V12.
Yeah.
Goes, great job, man. And then he looks at Morton and he goes, that's just pure coaching there.
That was
Morton starts laughing.
That was a good laugh.
And then Reed tells Velus that when he watches the touchdown back, he'll see him chasing him down the field. And the Hard Knocks, of course, has the camera shot from behind of Reed running and like whirling his arms over his head like a 6-year-old and screaming.
Yeah. Very excited.
And then we hear Jim Miller. This guy has serious talent. He might have found a home as a running back. It's your weekly reminder that
penetrating
Jim Miller is football Rick Sutcliffe.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Adam, ever tell you about my grandson, Ryder? You're like, Jim, how old are you? Never mind. But this is when he's going on the field for the last time. The Bears got the ball back. And he says to Shane Waldron, I'm going to say one thing. No matter what, I appreciate you for investing in me, which was a nice little
That was very nice.
Good job to catch that by the camera.
But then it gets even better. Yeah. Because as Liev reminds us that the Bears have outscored their opponents by 68 points in the preseason, they go to Austin in the huddle. He goes, all right, boys, you know what time it is. It's victory. It's what we've been waiting for. You talk about legendary teams. Listen to me here. Listen to this, because they're not paying attention. We talk about the Patriots, bro. We talk about the Legion of Boom. We talk about the 85 Bears. They're going to talk about the 24 preseason Bears. Come on. Somewhere, John Paxson is watching it, and it's like, oh, should we have not hung the banner when we won the Vegas Summer League?
Right.
The biggest moment in Bulls history since the last championship was when they won the Summer League. So then they go to very proud Austin's dad, who I think is Tim Walz' brother. And he says,
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He goes, he did not make a mistake. Excellent job. Excellent game.
I think Reed's from Florida, though, so may not align the same way.
Hey, you could move. You don't think people from Minnesota move to Florida?
Yeah.
I imagine a lot of them do.
Yeah. Plus, that kid went to college everywhere. He went to Southern, then he went to West Florida, and then he ended up at Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
I noticed he left SIU off of his resume when he was giving his schools before he sang last week. Maybe he did not have a great time with the Salukis. I don't know. So the game's over, and they're milling around the field. And Travis Kelce goes up to Flus and tells him, what a great job he's doing. But then he says, everything on Hard Knocks is fun as hell.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was 20 minutes of George like, I think we should probably beep hell. Like, no.
Yeah. Well, they had to cut out a swear that Chad Morton had in the when they were prepping Ian Wheeler during his song. I think he said shit, and you hear it blanked out. Yeah,
they've dropped stuff out. So I guess George decided hell was okay in that context.
Right. In that context,
in that context,
Travis Kelce says it's okay.
Yeah. Then we see Ian Wheeler we see his mom in the hallway, and we see him come out of the locker room.
Yeah, first.
Yeah. And we get the hug. How long do you think the hug was? I timed it.
Oh, you timed it. Oh, it was a long hug. I'm going to say 11 seconds.
25 seconds. It felt
you were both horribly under.
Wow.
Try it again. Both of you guess again. You're not even in the. You're not even in the ballpark.
34 seconds.
44 seconds.
So they actually hugged twice. But the first hug, the long one, 1 minute, 4.5 seconds.
Wow.
Gosh. Wow.
I mean, that is like
that's
5% of the episode was the hug.
Yeah.
But it's really good. I mean, it's like, how David Letterman's whole thing about comedy was if you have a lame joke, but you keep repeating it, it somehow starts to get funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This was, instead of just like a nice little 20-second thing, I'm sure they're like, should we just leave this whole thing in? It's amazing. And somebody's like, sure. And they leave the whole thing. And then they hugged a second time. That was 24 seconds the second.
Wow. A lot of hugging.
Yeah. So we got almost 90 full seconds of hugging.
Wow.
And it was nice. And she was going to like walk off, and they're basically telling her she can ride in the cart.
Yeah.
And Kerry Joseph, the quarterback coach, stops her and says, he's outstanding. You did a great job with him.
Yeah.
So now it's the next day, and the coaches are all gathered. The trainer gives the update and says that Wheeler tore his ACL. He's going to need surgery, and he's going to miss the whole season. And then Wheeler goes to Ryan Poles' office. Poles asks him how he's doing. He goes, it's going about as well as it can. He goes, it doesn't hurt, so that's okay. And that's the thing. If you completely tear your ACL, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
If you partially tear it, it catches and hurts like hell. Right. So I just wanted to tell Ian, when they fix it, it will hurt.
It will hurt.
Don't enjoy it now, because it's going to hurt, and it's going to hurt the whole time you're rehabbing it.
Yeah.
So Poles basically asks him if he knows what's going to happen, and Wheeler says it's going to be a redshirt year. Poles says yes. He says the Bears are going to put him on injured reserve so he can stay with the team, and he can rehab it and then get another shot. And Poles tells him he can come in there, or he can call him whenever he wants. And cautions him to stay positive. He said the only dangerous part of being on the IR is you miss being on the field, you get stagnant mentally, and sort of lose your way. I don't want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a real thing, because football players are used to playing, all athletes, and now you're rehabbing and you're not really with the team, and you're in meetings, but you're not participating in anything. And I don't think we have to worry about him
he's a
becoming a knucklehead, but I think he could be like, maybe I should just start the doctor shit now.
Yeah, that's
Poles is basically telling him, you basically tell him, take another shot at it next year, and then you can go. And what I liked about it was when in the closing credits, when you get to the very end, because I just was watching them as they were going by, and I got away at the end. When they got to the music, it said, Finetto, performed by Ian Wheeler, courtesy of BMG Rights Management. He actually got the credit for singing the song.
That's nice.
I don't believe Austin Reed got the credit for singing.
No, I don't think he did. Yeah, I don't think the lineman do it either. The Canadian, what's it, Theo Benedet?
Yeah, I think they still had to credit Lee Greenwood.
Yeah.
All right, so time for the superlatives. So, Mike Pusateri, who are your winners?
Ian Wheeler, big winner. Ian Wheeler's mom. Really, the whole Jennifer King, Chad Morton, and Ryan Poles. All that whole storyline is great.
Yeah.
Perez?
I'd also say Ian Wheeler. Definitely Chad Morton and Jennifer King too. I thought Adrian Colbert was winner in this too. That you got to see a personality in football you don't often see, and even if it might not be all that normal, it's something off the beaten path. And then Austin Reed and his family, for the enthusiasm.
Yeah, my winners were Austin Reed, Ian Wheeler and his mom, Jennifer King, Woodman's, and Sammy Hagar.
Woodman's,
yeah. Can I add the referee as a winner too? The
sure.
arm
wrestling referee.
Yeah, I'd like to add him in there. Let's give him an award.
All right, losers. Praz, you can start.
I'm going to go with the offensive lineman room, rectums, if they were using the wipes that Theo Benedet got. I'll say John Jackson, because, not just for the fact that he didn't make the team, but not even knowing what a rectangular prism is. Come on, man.
But don't prisms have to be, in order to get the thing?
That was the thing.
Don't they have to be pointy? I learned all I need to know about prisms from Led Zeppelin album covers, and I think it's, maybe it's not.
I thought so.
I think
I've really never eaten a mamba, because I didn't know what that. I thought they were like those.
I didn't know a mamba either.
Fruit-shaped things.
I didn't know that.
I guess that's not what they are. Mike Pusteri, you're losers.
I'm going to take a quite literal definition and say that the guy that Tyson's dad beat in the arm wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah, my losers were the two dudes that Travis Bagent arm wrestled.
Okay.
Brett Rippon and Heights. And then me, because I bought a few hundred sound bowls only to find out that Adrian Colbert got cut on Tuesday.
See? I was going to, maybe they could be a sponsor of the pod. The sound bowl
Adrian
guys.
Colbert sound bowls.
Yeah.
I'll call him. See, are you selling those now? I got a garage full of them. Let's work something out.
Yeah, we got a deal here.
Mike Pusteri, best scene.
Best scene for me was the Poles Wheeler scene at the very end. I thought that was actually Poles' best moment of the entire series so far.
Yeah, because it
really touching.
Yeah. We've joked about some of the stage things. That clearly was not one of those. Yeah. That was a real thing.
Everybody's like, call me whenever.
Definitely.
You're part of that. That was really.
Feel free to call and cry if you need to. Very touching moment.
Yeah,
there.
This was not like, hey, you're on the injured reserve. Good luck. We'll see you next year. Get the hell out of here.
So, that was one of my favorites. I love the Woodman shopping scene. I loved. I think the best though probably would go to when Ian Wheeler was getting ready to sing and him being scolded, saying like, "Don't smile, keep a low pad level when you go in." Yeah.
Yeah, mine would be Poles and Wheeler, the hug, and the Austin Reed victory talk in the huddle. I thought that was pretty good.
That was good.
All right, Prez, most alarming?
Mentioned it earlier, but Adrian Colbert talking about, his childhood major injury and then like him riding the bike without a helmet.
Yeah, he wasn't right. He wasn't exactly cutting a bike safety PSA in this episode. Right.
Exactly. I would say that when Bagent started like stomping inside the sky deck, like that was just like, what are you doing, man? Like, it's scary enough being in there. Why you got to make it shake? And then Wheeler's mom kind of reacting to the ACL injury.
Yeah.
As well too.
Mike Pusteri, most alarming.
Most alarming for me was Brett Rippon up in the Sears Tower, and the thing was clicking.
Yeah.
That is alarming to me. So, like, they get a structural engineer up there now to fix whatever that clicking is. That can't be.
Yeah, because I think it was Austin, right? That was like marveling that humans could build something that tall, and I was like, well, as we know from, it was also built by the lowest bidder.
Yeah,
right. So you got to be careful.
Yeah.
My most alarming scene was Theo Benedet thinking you can wipe your ass with Clorox.
Yeah.
That was the. Yeah. And Mike Pusteri, funniest moments.
I think Jennifer King had some funny moments. Like we talked about the one earlier, like, it's being a self-correcting issue. I thought that was a really funny moment. Chad Morton, funny throughout, the way he was getting on Wheeler. And then, but that all became much, he paid that off because he found out he really cared about it.
Yeah. Funniest for me, I'll say, again, I forget which player it was, but when Wheeler was singing, the guy in the white hoodie who threw up the dollar bills, making it rain while he was singing. As we mentioned, hopefully Wheeler got a few of those bills. I would also say when Austin Reed called him and Brett Rippon the best clappers in the league. I found that to be pretty funny too.
And mine was Roman Jackson buying candy at Woodman's. Austin Reed chasing Velus down the field and screaming. Flus telling Morton, that's just pure coaching there. After Velus says coaching. That was good.
That was good.
Yep.
So I kind of find it odd that Hard Knocks is 5 weeks.
Yeah, it kind of seems like what's the point now?
Because I know it's because Tuesday was cut down day and Tuesday's the day the show drops. You can't, you can't spend enough time on some of that stuff. But by the time we get to next Tuesday, all these storylines, especially maybe it's only a big deal if you're a Bear fan, you already know who's back. Like maybe it's drama for fans who don't give a shit who's on the Bears practice squad. But we already know we're going to see like Austin Reed get cut.
Yeah,
and then the drama about does he get picked up by anybody? And the Bears want to keep him, and then they keep him, and we're already going to know what happens.
Yeah. And we got it kind of spoiled today, too, from Schefter with the Bears practice squad roster.
Well, the Bears put that out, too, so it didn't even have to be Schefter.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the teams all announced what their rosters are.
I know. I'm just saying who I saw it first from.
No, the big thing apparently that people think Schefter is about to, is hinting that he's going to break is Travis and Taylor being engaged.
Oh, really?
It hasn't happened yet, but he's teasing that he's going to find out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think so much like this podcast, Travis and Jason Kelsey sold their podcast to Wondery for 9 figures.
Yeah, much like ours.
I would think that Wondery probably would want Travis to actually break the news on the podcast.
Well, you would
maybe have Taylor on, and do you have any news, honey? Oh, we're getting married.
Yeah.
But they're free to come on this podcast and break the news.
Yeah, gutless. You guys had any balls, you'd do it on this podcast.
Yeah. I know you're a longtime listener, Travis and Taylor. Please, the invitation's out.
Taylor has been trying to convince Travis.
Right.
She's been listening to the podcast forever, and she's been trying to convince him to listen to it. And he's like, I can't. I got too many podcasts I'm listening to. I can't listen to it. She's like, you have to listen to this one. It's amazing. Pointless Exercise is the greatest podcast ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Several of her songs allude to how great this podcast is.
Several of them do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Several of them do.
She has many songs about your blogs from the 97 Cubs.
Yes, what a year! What a year that was! What a great year to start a blog.
Right.
The Bears didn't win until they started off 0-8 or something, and the Cubs obviously started 0-14.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was good stuff. It's great.
Good stuff.
But as we announced last week, and this has happened. The last time the Bears were 4-0 in the preseason was 1994, and that season ended with the Bears in the playoffs, winning a road playoff game under the great Dave Wanstead. One of only 4 road playoff wins in Chicago Bear history.
Yep.
4 road playoff wins in 104 years. Is that a lot?
Low. It seems a little low.
Seems very low.
Hmm.
There have been teams who've won 3 in 1 year.
Yeah.
The Bears have 4 ever, but they're pacing themselves. All right. Well, we'll see how it all wraps up.
Yes, we will.
Next week.
Yes, we will.
All right.
Sounds
Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Andy.
Many of us have herpes.
See what was up your sleeve? Did you use it or?
I don't know. What's up yours?
You got me there.
Yeah.